Hi, everyone.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Star Wars Rebels Revisited. I'm Ashley, and this is Mark Von Olin,
Hi,
and
everyone.
we're here to do a watch along this week. We're going to be watching episode 5 of Star Wars Rebels called Rise of the Old Masters, and we'll be delving into that episode, getting into the nitty-gritty with the Inquisitors, and we'll also be watching episode 10, Path of the Jedi.
I'm excited to dive into our Grand Inquisitor since we spent
Yes.
so much time with the Grand Inquisitor in Obi-Wan Kenobi, back when he was just called the Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Um, this is his first appearance, technically, because in the pilot, he's that little hologram situation at the
hmm
start, but this is the first time the crew of the Rebels actually encounter him.
Yes. So this is the first taste of all of us getting to see exactly what the Inquisitors do and what they're capable of. And let me tell you, they're not to be messed with.
Exactly. Don't let the low title fool you. Just because they are not technically a Sith doesn't mean that they are not devastating.
hmm
This is one of the more serious episodes of season one, like one of the more heartbreaking, one of the more tragic, one of the darker ones. And it's early, it's episode five, which, by
Yeah.
the way, if you look on IMDb, you may have noticed our graphic changed compared to what was on Twitter earlier today. IMDb tells you that this is episode four because they count Sparks of Rebellion as one episode. Disney Plus has it broken up, so it is episode five. So either way, if you're when you load your Disney Plus, you will see it as episode five, Rise of the Old
Right.
Masters.
Right. And episode 10 is coming up as episode 9 in IMDb, but in your Disney Plus, it is episode 10.
Yeah, and we
So,
picked these two episodes because we think they're good indicators of what the Grand Inquisitor is all about. We certainly get to see his devious planning in this first one.
oh yeah, he definitely get a sense that he's a seasoned professional when it comes to Jedi hunting, way more so than you do in Kenobi.
Yeah.
And it's kind of integral to the story between building that relationship with Kanan and Ezra, because not only do they have to learn how to trust each other as Padawan and Master, they also have to learn how to survive against this new threat.
It's so interesting in the prequels when Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon refer to themselves as like experts on Sith or whatever, and then they turn out to like not be at all. Can't do. They're actually quite bad at it. The Inquisitors, on the other hand, are experts at Jedi, and they know how to take them down and take them out. So we will see a little taste of that in this episode. I think his plot is the plot of this is very effective, and it's obviously worked in the past. We don't know exactly on who necessarily, but he seems to be pretty successful with this little bait and switch kind of trap.
Right. And in last week's episode, Empire Day, you see like a little bit of the Inquisitor's strength when he was able to, redirect that blaster bolt towards the TIE fighter when he clearly, if it was anybody else, he would have been shot. He was just completely unfazed by it. So that was a little taste. Now you're going to see what he's fully capable of.
Yeah, and the mind games that he plays,
Mm.
which I think is the even scarier part of it, right? Like he's a smart villain,
And he's
the kind that
ruthless.
yeah, which are kind of like Thrawn. And it's one of the things I really appreciate about Rebels is they give you it's not just like stupid like hulking kind of monstrous villains. You get a lot of really complicated, layered, and intellectually challenging villains. And I think Thrawn and the Inquisitor are probably the top two.
Absolutely. And I feel like having an interesting villain is more than half of the story. You got to give the rebels something to rebel against, and you don't want to be bored. You don't want to be, oh, he's a pushover. These guys definitely give the Ghost Crew a run for their money.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing they make it out alive. There's so many
Yeah,
situations where
seriously.
I'm like, how are they alive? And it's like production, we need them to be. The show revolves around them. But in all seriousness, they like there is a body count throughout Rebels. We do see
Mhm.
characters die, and including the Grand Inquisitor when we get to the end of season one. But right now, we're going to see him thrive in this first one. Ashley, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about what we can expect in this episode?
Okay, in this episode, we're going to see our crew be tricked by Gall Travis, who, as you saw on Empire Day, was sending out pirated rebellion broadcasts on the Empire Network to kind of band the rebels together um, into a rescue mission for Master Luminara Unduli. But it doesn't always go as they plan it to be going. So it's definitely one that is very heartbreaking and very tough to watch in some parts, especially if you love Clone Wars, especially if you love Luminara and Barriss, and yeah.
It feels like this is one of those moments where it really feels like this is a sequel to the Clone Wars,
Mm-hmm.
which season 2 feels like just a straight up sequel to the Clone Wars. But
Right,
these are some of those little bits that they throw at you, like, oh yeah, the Clone Wars happened, and there are casualties from it, and there are repercussions, and the Empire is still playing those same games. And the Shroud of the Dark Side not only has fallen, it has engulfed everything, right? Like there is
right,
no Jedi Order anymore, and so they're just being hunted down one by one, which is terrible. This episode intersects with a lot of those ideas, a lot of those themes, and it's really, and for being episode 5, it is shockingly dark for a kid show. It's
absolutely.
scary.
Yeah, and you also learn more about Kanan's master and the struggle he went through, the absolutely horrible experience he had when he was younger, and what made him go on the run. Um, it is not a very um, it's kind of tough to watch, but again, you learn so much about the strength of Kanan and his will to be just as good of a master as his master was. And we find out who they are in this
That's right.
episode.
We get that reveal in this episode. I feel like I've known it for
Yes,
so long, you forget where the initial information,
exactly.
originates from.
Hmm.
And I was like, when did we find out that she is his master? And this is right. This is the episode. Uh, and also we find out his teaching style, I guess, is the best way to describe that, and why he's actually like very excited to hear the name Luminara Unduli, who he knows a little bit from his time when he was at the Jedi Order.
Right,
Because Kanan's not a great teacher. And how could he be? He was never a master. He was only ever a Padawan. So we get
right,
to, experience what that must be like, where now you have responsibility that you are not prepared for. What do you do in that situation? Do you run? Do you hide? Do you try to pass off that responsibility to someone else, or do you take it head on? There's a lot of wisdom to be gained. We also get some Yoda in this episode, just a little flavor. So yeah,
sprinkle
it's
of Yoda.
yes, it's actually really in episode 10 we get some Yoda too. This is an an unplanned Yoda experience. So if you are a Yoda fan, brace yourselves because there's a lot
This
of
is your
discussion
week.
about. Yeah, yeah, you secretly won. Like we've used the Inquisitors to lure you in, but Yoda might be the scene stealer in both of the episodes.
Wait, did we pull a Inquisitor by kind of tempting them over? Like,
Exactly.
hey, we have
Yeah.
Luminara. Hey, we have Yoda.
Exactly. It turns out
Cool.
you're going to see some Yoda. Looking at the
Sweet.
time, we're doing 2 episodes tonight, so
Right.
we're going to jump in now because it's already 10 after. And doing the math, we don't want to keep you guys super late. So,
Absolutely.
we're going to start the episode. So everyone, cue up your Disney Plus. Again, episode 5 of season 1, Rise of the Old Masters, and Ashley will give us the countdown.
All right, you guys get it queued up, and it's going to be a 10-second countdown starting now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
And here we go.
Yeah.
I do enjoy their opening training, not a montage, their little vignette, the handstand, classic Jedi nonsense, right? Stand on your hand. I can't do this in real
Right.
life. Like,
Never mind on a moving ship up in the sky. Like,
that's bonkers. It's so unsafe. It makes me
and
so
they're all
angry.
just chilling up there, like, no big deal.
Yeah, there's no way I would lose my mind. I would be a terrible Jedi student. I just want to put that out there. Not that I think anyone in this group who's ever seen me on any of the shows would ever think I'd be a good Jedi student. I would be kicked out of the academy immediately.
I think you can handle it.
I would. I mean, I would. Me and Barasafi would be hanging out like causing trouble.
Hey,
So
she could handle it for a time, so could
yeah.
you. Oh my God.
Zeb and Ezra just
Now, I love in the
poking.
scene that Ezra, Kanan admits that like some of the things that Yoda used to say confused him too. Like he's just,
Yep.
well, it's what he used to say, so I just kind of go with it.
It's also the kind of thing where like fans for 40 years, or I guess at this point 30-ish years, right, would have been like, I don't understand what do or do try or there is no try. What does that mean? They answer it. Like they legitimately gave us an in-universe answer to what it means based on the thoughts of one of his students.
Right.
And I found that thrilling because it's almost like Lucasfilm was listening to what the fans might think about this thing that kind of makes no sense, and they were like, "Oh, we made it made sense." And I agreed with Kanan by the end of the episode when he realizes what it actually means. I was like, "Oh my god, I agree with you." I was very excited to see that.
Chopper has become a pitching machine here.
This is great. This is like the scene in Clueless where like the tennis balls just keep
Yes.
flying. Awesome.
Quick load Chopper. Here we go.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, use your body to slow it down. This is terrific.
He's loving it. He's like, more.
Yeah, this is not like sanctioned Jedi Academy training right here.
No, definitely not. But Chopper and Zeb are having the best time.
So this is where it's like sliding off the ship. There you go.
Yeah, you're not gonna look cool in front of Sabine doing that, buddy. Sorry. Oh my goodness.
See, this is fantastic. Being able to see Kanan's force abilities
Absolutely. Yeah.
and just how strong he actually is. He's
Yeah.
definitely, and you see it every episode. He grows with his powers. Yoda's going to make a comment about that in episode 10. Everyone be on the lookout for that. As Kanan gets better every episode, the same way that Ezra grows. Like Kanan's in parallel growing with him as a teacher.
Now, do you think Zeb was kind of hesitating catching him there?
A little bit. Like we could be done with all of this.
Chopper's like, come on, let's go again. Sorry, I love him so much.
Oh, forgot he threw that other one at him.
Oh no,
oh my god, the Loth cat.
Like, what the heck?
This is like the cute humor that I like that's mixed in with the very serious things we're going to tackle in this episode.
Yes.
You have to be focused. There's always going to be distractions.
And I think it's because Kanan is undisciplined and unfocused.
Of course. They're young boys. Like
he's projecting.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. It's not surprising that Kanan would see all of his own flaws in Ezra, and oddly, like they're actually their greatest strengths. I think the fact that they don't subscribe to like the dogma and the discipline works for both of them. Like it's a very different time right now. Like this isn't the time of the Jedi Order being in power. You're underground. Like look at this. Like they're listening to a spy message.
Call Travis.
Yeah. Which we don't know at this point that he's not who he claims to be. That gets revealed a little bit later.
Oh but my God.
Oh, heartbreaking. It's unfortunate when you get to hear her voice, though. Olivia Diabo from the Wonder Years did her voice in the Clone Wars. We had her sign for us autographs at Topps numerous times, and she was terrific. Awesome. Yeah. I always wanted to bring her to like a convention or something, but I don't know if she really does public appearances. Because she's someone I would definitely add to like a Clone Wars piece for sure. Like she was a big part of, obviously everything related to Barriss Offee, which had such an effect on Ahsoka. So her character is super important, even though barely in the prequels, pretty significant part of the Clone Wars.
And I kind of feel for Kanan here because he's like, oh, she'd make an excellent teacher for you, like completely doubting himself as well. And, fear and doubt are very important parts of these episodes.
Yep. Fear is the first step to the dark side and failure and all of that. Kanan is afraid. He isn't qualified. I mean, frankly, like he's just not qualified to teach Ezra. But just because he's not qualified doesn't mean he shouldn't do it and that he shouldn't try to do it.
All right.
And he should just do it.
And
And that
yeah, just because like he's the only Jedi in the vicinity doesn't mean that like, um he has to doubt himself and just think,
yeah,
oh, I'm not qualified. I'm just going to do this because I'm the only Jedi around here. Like, no, you have the training. You know things that Ezra will never know because the Jedi Order has fallen.
right.
So you're the last key to that for him. So
And this is where the Jedi dogma gets really bogs everyone down, right?
mhm.
Like, there's no one way to be a Jedi, and in fact, the way you need to be a
Right.
Jedi in this age of rebellion that we're in now, as like instead of being in the Republic age, is very different. And I think a lot of those Jedi wouldn't have done well in this time period. Whereas someone like Cal Kestis, someone like Kanan Jarrus, someone like Ezra Bridger, very different skill sets, very different problem solving skills, different behaviors, the need to be underground to work with a rebellion, stay hidden. That's not something that I could see many of the main Jedi Order, like the big masters, knowing how to do.
Right.
Like I don't know if Ki-Adi-Mundi would have been great in that situation. So,
No, they're pretty sheltered.
yeah, it's a very different. And what do you need? Do you really need the textbooks, or can you like just connect with the Force and learn how to master your powers, and then use that based on the environment in which you're in, which in this case is like big espionage, which we're going to see a lot more of in Andor, which I'm very excited about. More espionage, please.
Yes. That's part of the fun.
Yeah. This little prison break. This becomes a running thing in Rebels. I mean, they kind of did it in the first episode. They're always infiltrating something. And I think that's the thing to keep in mind with this crew is their expertise is breaking into places, stealing stuff, and getting out. It's like get in, steal the stuff, get out. It's like the Italian job every week. Like that is really the main function of them until they become part of the larger rebellion up there with like Dale and Fulcrum and everyone else.
Ezra's all excited. He's like, whoa, check him out. I'm going to do that too.
Yeah.
And that doesn't always work.
Kanan's force powers are well displayed within this episode. Like we really get a sense as to just how strong he is. The tension between the two of them is sometimes hard to watch because it's like they both mean well, but they don't. He doesn't know how to be a student. He doesn't know how to be a teacher. They're both figuring it out.
It's like trying to calm two hot heads or two hot heads trying to calm each other down.
Stay focused.
And Zeb's in charge of the
body removal.
The body removal.
Everyone definitely has a role to play. And what I like about like the Spectre situation, Hera gives everyone their task. Ezra's going to unlock the door. Zeb is the muscle. Sabine is going to plant the bombs. Like Kanan is going to use his force powers and swish some stormtroopers. Like everyone's got their function, and like Hera dictates what happens. And now she's sitting back in the ship, like making sure everything looks good, and she'll be the exit. Like they're pretty good at being part of a military without even realizing it. Like no one's using that wording right now, but like they're ready to be part of like a fleet, to be a working part of a larger machine because they're already doing it with the 6 of them.
Exactly.
Oh, plans change though.
Yeah, he says he senses Luminara, but it's clouded.
Yeah. So. I when I first saw this, I didn't know what to think. I was like, of course it's clouded, the dark side, etc. Right? Or is she an Inquisitor? Like there are any number of things that
that's what I was really worried about.
Yeah. What would it be worse, right? Like, what do you guys think in the comments? What would be the worst case scenario for someone like a captured Jedi, right? Is it death? Is it tortured and then turned into an Inquisitor? We've seen it happen with a few of them. Usually they get like a Padawan. Like Trillo was a Padawan. Obviously Reva was, yep, she was a Padawan. They weren't full Jedi Masters, but Prasad Dibs was a Jedi Master, and he turned out to be the 10th brother or whatever. He went like full heel turn. So it happens. Oh, these guys.
Space mantas.
There are a lot of interesting, we could do a listicle on this, all of the interesting animals that pop up within Star Wars Rebels, and in
Yeah.
particular, the ones that Ezra knows how to connect with. Because that's one of his core Jedi traits that he's just very, very good at connecting with wildlife, with animals. Like that part of the Force, like really works with him.
It's their mating call, the frequency jammer.
It's so
uh,
ridiculous.
it is, but it's hilarious. And I think Filoni picked up a lot of the creature interactions. This is just my speculation, but from his time on Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Hmm.
where you had Aang with Appa and Momo, the sky bison and the flying lemur, and animals were a huge part of Avatar. And I think incorporating it in here and incorporating the essence of animals in nature and in the Force
Hmm.
is a really, really cool addition to the series.
And we see a lot of it in season three, season four, season three when we meet the Bendu, who's like just all about neutrality in the Force, and he has those giant spiders running around. And then with the wolves, of course, like the wolves are probably the most important of all the
Mm-hmm.
creatures that we meet, especially with the connectivity both to Ezra and then the Force in general. And we all know Dave's background with wolves. He's like a big wolf preservationist, I guess is the word.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, he loves wildlife and in particular wolves. So we definitely have to do a list of that, like all of our favorite
right.
animals that pop up. Those manta rays are cute. There are no purgles. Purgles might have to
No.
automatically win because of their you know situation in the finale, of course.
Oh, here we go. Something's wrong.
Yep. Oh, heartbreaking, heartbreaking.
Oh my God.
Scary. It's like a horror movie. Yeah, and there he
Uh-oh.
is. And now you're in the cell. Like you're trapped, man. Like you shouldn't be able to escape from this. What a trap, though.
Oh my
Like
God.
we use the
Yeah.
it's a trap all the time. Like this really is, and this was a good one.
Her bones continue to serve the Empire. Ugh.
It's a
They
rough
are
line.
they are not above any type of dastardly, horrible, unnatural things.
Yeah. This is a new low, even for what
The
we see the
Empire.
Empire do, and they blew up Elderon, right? But this feels just
Yeah.
so personal. Like they've got this poor dead woman's like mummified corpse and a hologram, and then a trick message that's out there. Oh, this was great. So he says it's the Inquisitor who figures out who his master is based on his lightsaber fighting style.
Yes. Emphasis on always Form 3.
Hmm.
He even fights fancy.
Yeah,
like man, you're cooler than Dooku.
you're a poor student. There you
uh,
go.
you might want to move. Thank God they have the detonators.
This was a great trap, and on anyone else it would have worked for sure. They kind of got
Mm-hmm.
lucky because the
Yeah.
Inquisitor could have killed both of them pretty quickly, but he wanted to toy with him. They wanted a monologue. He always wanted to give away the plan. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and now at this point, we know for sure that Master Luminara can be added to the RIP list, the running RIP list from Clone Wars. Because at this point, too, there's no confirmation that Ahsoka is still alive. We don't know what happened to Captain Rex, Commander Cody. We have a lot of people who just are like have uncertain fates coming out of the Clone
Right.
Wars.
And I think this is where I got scared because it's like if they could do this to Luminar, what could they do
Yeah,
to the others?
yeah, she seemed pretty untouchable. Even when Barasafi went awry, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, of all the people, because Master Luminara is just so on the path, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can't imagine she didn't put up like a crazy fight though. Like I'm sure a
Yeah.
lot of people killed in the moment, and that's why her body was there.
Yeah. And I think it's because she was so strong in the force that they just felt like, okay, she still has some of that force energy in her. She
Yeah.
can still do this. And that brings us to what we saw in Kenobi with keeping the Jedi and the Padawans in stasis.
Mm,
Is it the same thing?
yeah.
Seems like it.
There's definitely a variety of ways to either slow down the life cycle, like because carbonite just freezes you, right? And in theory, it shouldn't age you. You shouldn't be aging while you're in it, is my understanding. But it's also supposed to be temporary, and if it lasts for too long, it could kill you.
Right.
I'm no expert on carbonite, but that's one. And then you've got that weird goo, like the amber that we saw everyone in Obi-Wan, and then whatever this was, that this mummification situation. This is really impressive that Kanan got the jump on him like this.
Absolutely.
He was tapping into all his emotion too. There was some anger in that because he was trying to protect Ezra.
And some fear as well. Like, oh no, I'm
Yeah.
gonna get him killed. Does yours do that?
So I was watching the spinning lightsaber, which we see for the first time here. I was watching Rebels Recon, which, by the way, everyone is on YouTube. So, like,
Yes.
these were the after episode interviews with Andy Gutierrez of Andy and Anthony from the Star Wars show. She used to host this thing called Rebels Recon, and she would interview people from the show, including Dave Filoni and Pablo Hidalgo. She asked him, "What's the deal with the spinning lightsaber?" Basically, and he said, "This was Filoni. We wanted to give the Inquisitors like a cheat for something that it would take a stronger dark side user to do. So like Maul could do this on his own, but he wouldn't be able to, which is why they made it work mechanically to build
Right.
that way. Because he's not as strong as a Sith. Still super strong and scary, but not Sith level. He's got the whole crew on the run now. I will say though, they're very good on their feet at adjusting to the plan. Like they have a plan, they go in, they do their things, something goes wrong. They're very good at adapting. They're a very adaptable group.
And this is important because they're working together for the first
Yeah.
time. It's not back and forth nitpicking, squabbling,
Mhm.
it's focus, the picture, the locking mechanism. Let's do this.
Yep.
And
Look at
it's something
Kanan and
that's,
Ezra in sync. Like, yeah.
yes, it's so simple and so basic. Like, let's just lift a door. But it's like, we're going to do this to survive.
Yep. And we'll see that in order to get into the Jedi Temple, it takes two. One person can't unlock the temple. You need to be
Right.
there with a master and a Padawan, and you have to do it together. So there is no getting in on your own. At least the temple we visit in episode 10. And I think that's true in most places.
Right. Oh, here comes Hera with the army.
Which, when I think about this, as I think about what really saves the day, it's these animals, right? Like there's these little breadcrumbs of shadowing as to like where this show is taking us, like what's going to save the day, like the natural inhabitants of these planets, the animals, the connectivity to nature, the connectivity to the force is going to beat out against this army and group of machines.
Absolutely.
It's a little Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest, and a little like other Avatar, not The Last Airbender, but accurate nonetheless.
Right.
I like that Ezra's jealous of the lightsaber, though.
Like, does yours do that? Where can I get one? And I think it's funny how Ezra's wrist,
The slingshot kind of thing.
Yeah, works against all those stormtroopers, but doesn't even touch the Inquisitor.
No,
Gives you an idea.
He's got good armor, and he's got his like little force shield that we were talking about last week.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is. Natural world versus machines is what Sarah is saying, which I think is very true of Star Wars, because the Imperials come in and they're really just pillaging all these planets, especially the Outer Rim. And what we find out, like on Lothal in particular, as the plot builds, they're after like a very specific natural resource, the world between worlds, and the connectivity that happens through Lothal. Like they're not just building a TIE fighter plant.
And this part is sad because I think he kind of sensed that he wanted to send Ezra off with Luminara, and he just kind of feels
Yeah,
like, oh great, you didn't want me either. Like it's kind of
I love that.
disheartening when you grow up alone.
Exactly. I love though that line. It's like I didn't want the best teacher. I wanted you.
If
It's
all I do
awesome.
is try, that means I don't truly believe that I can succeed. So
I
he's
will teach you. I'm not going to
yes,
try to teach you. It's so
it's a
simple,
huge difference. Yeah.
but like the mind blowing of like that's what that meant. Where for 30 years, like the greatest scholars on the planet couldn't figure it out, and then like Freddie Prince Jr. just articulates it beautifully for us.
Because
So
it's Freddie
love it.
Prinze Jr. That's why.
Excelente. I will teach you. I will do this. Yeah, you're removing the doubt. You're removing the room for failure.
Right.
Which is I think a good lesson for as you're learning.
Hmm.
It's like I'm going to do this, and that's the end of the episode. That one flew by, girl. I
Yeah.
forgot like how fast that was. Um, but it was action packed for sure.
Yes. A lot of heavy themes to talk about, a lot of scary moments to see.
Yeah, surprisingly horror driven kind of episode. Very serious. First physical encounter with the Inquisitor, which is why it makes our best of. Like as we were talking about today's episode being a celebration of the Grand Inquisitor. And there's more just beyond these two episodes. There's a whole list of appearances that he's in, especially in season one. But this felt like a critical one to watch because it's the first time that Keenan and Ezra actually meet him in real life. And it's harrowing, like how close he comes to actually killing them, like five
Yeah.
episodes in.
Like you can see the shock on their face, like, who the hell is this? And why would he
Yeah,
do this with Luminara's body? Like,
yeah,
so
it's messed up.
it's savage. It's it's what the Sith are fully capable of, even if they're not a Sith Lord themselves.
Yeah, I'm constantly amazed at like the levels that the dark side villains go to within Star Wars. They always take it to these like crazy levels. Like, they're not going to go there, and then they do. The dead body of Luminara and Dooley, luring more people to their death. It's
Yeah.
just yeah, it's heartbreaking.
And it's even
Um,
worse because she was such a well-known master. Like, how many other Jedi and Padawans did you lure in with that?
yeah,
You know?
I'd love to find that. By the way, I did a little digging and I was like trying to find an answer to that. That seems to
Yeah.
be one of those unanswered questions. And it's like, we're not really sure if anyone else has died, like in this, the Spire, I think it was called the prison.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I don't know if there's any who else had made it out there. Um, but yeah, I think, the Grand Inquisitor really showed us some of his like major, uh, skills in this one, right? Luring the crew to the prison. So he's super smart, conniving, knows how to set a trap, that's for sure. I thought the confrontation in the prison was both physical, but also he was toying with them and like
Hmm.
reading them for filth. Like I thought it was great that he immediately identified Depa Balaba as Kanan's teacher based on his like poor form in Form 3. It was like, oh, you favor Form 3 and you're bad at it and you're a bad student and I kick your ass. I was like, oh my god, I would have left
And that
crying.
doesn't make him feel any better as a
No,
master. So
right?
it's like,
That's a lot of
great,
negative
this guy
feedback
thinks I'm
at
terrible.
once.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so much so that he didn't even bother killing you there. He was too busy insulting you. Oh my god,
Definitely.
I would have left crying in tears, being like, "He thinks I'm a bad student." Like it was just, oh, it was
Oh,
amazing. So
savage.
that's why I love that episode. It's just it's savage in like every way, but I also love the Yoda bookend. Like I think that works
Yes.
really really well, and it's something that Rebels does a good job like referencing other parts of Star Wars. And now what we're finding is new parts of Star Wars references Rebels. It's like, did you see the headline? Do you know the headline I'm talking about? The one about Ahsoka coming out, and they were like, you don't really need to watch Rebels to watch Ahsoka, and I just like
What?
lost my mind. Um, here's the thing
Somebody is
for
making clickbait articles then, because that is just full of
yeah,
crap.
it was kind of an ish of like, well, if you haven't watched Rebels, will you be able to just jump into Ahsoka? And I don't think anyone is ever going to say there's like required reading or required viewing for
Right.
anything. Even when Star Wars Episode 1 came out, they were like, well, it is the beginning. You don't need to watch the originals. And it's like, but you should. And I
Okay,
think it's the
well,
same thing with Ahsoka. Like you can jump in, I'm
yeah.
sure. But you should watch Rebels, and
But just
especially
because
the
it's
finale.
us and how much we
Yeah.
love it, we're gonna say watch Rebels,
Yes, it's
because
required viewing.
required
Absolutely.
viewing. If listen to us, we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. It's rude, Sarah. rude just to say that. By the way, hi
So rude.
Scooby. Um,
Scooby.
so yeah, I thought that was a great start to the Inquisitor's long season long arc of
Yes.
terrorizing the crew of the Ghost and the viewers.
Can we just
Um,
give a huge shout out to Jason Isaacs being so calculated and so ruthless and so savage? He's
yeah,
just deliciously evil, and I love that man.
yeah, he's fantastic. So Dave is asking, has it ever been identified how the Grand Inquisitor trained? Was he a Padawan? And whose? I looked it up, and of course I don't have it in front of me, so I will pull that up as we get into the next episode through the Google machine.
The
But he was
Googles.
a former he was so well respected within the Jedi Order that he became a Jedi Temple Guard.
Temple Guard.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so he was a yellow lightsaber holder, and there are pictures of him, whichever one is him, at Barasafi's trial. So I wonder too, like if he was at that trial and like did he have it out for Luminara? Like I have my moments where it's like these things connect in
Yeah.
these like weird ways where because he
We're
probably
showing you guys.
because I also think he would have let her escape. Like if you're so because apparently he was
I
able
think in that
to.
episode when he explains to Kanan, like he was a temple guard, you see him holding. I think he was the one that was holding Luminara as he brought her in front of the Jedi Council. So,
Mm,
um, yeah. So I don't think we know who he was or who he was trained by yet, but we're gonna take a look at that just to make
I'm
sure.
gonna double check. I will
Yeah,
look it up as we start the next episode because I think that information's out there. They don't
yeah.
reveal his
It's
real
not in
name.
Rebels here, but
No,
um it's probably definitely out there in some form. So Mark is gonna work the
yeah.
Googles
I'm
and
gonna search because I read so much about him, especially again
yeah,
before the Obi-Wan show came out. I was like, I want to remind myself like all the things about the Great Inquisitor that we already know, and like all the different sources because he's also in the comics. Like he's
yeah,
a little bit everywhere, right?
it's a
Like
deep
all the
history.
characters now,
Yeah.
which is nice. Like that we get to see. Like I was doing my research on Mon Mothma, who is in 90 seconds of Return of the Jedi. Her Wikipedia page is 10 miles long because she's in Rogue One, numerous episodes of Rebels, which we'll be watching during Andor August. She's in several episodes of the Clone Wars. She's got the deleted scene in Revenge of the Sith, and she's in like the visual dictionary. She's here, she's there, she's in this, she's in that. It goes on and on. From 90 seconds in Return of the Jedi, she's now like I would consider an A minus list character, right?
Right.
Like someone, and now
Correct.
that Andor's coming, oh man, like she's second build after Diego. Like that she's gonna have a huge role.
I love it. It's so cool because she's such a strong force. And I think she was a role model for Leia in a lot of regards because Bail works
Mhm.
so closely with her. And
Yeah,
it's like, okay, she's out there being a senator, but she's also changing the world undercover. And it's just awesome.
yeah. I'm excited to see what
But
they do with her
we
character
should get
in
into
that
the next
show.
episode now before it
Yes,
runs too late.
that's right. And we can just talk over it like we always do. Um,
Sure.
so
Do you want to
episode
start the
10.
countdown?
Yes. So everyone bring up your Disney Plus again. I'm trying to scroll over here. We're going to episode 10, Path of the Jedi. And we're going to do a 5-second countdown. So everyone catch on up. In five, four, three, two, go. Path of the Jedi, episode 10, season 1, Star Wars Rebels. Now, this one is again almost following up like with Ezra and Kanan on the Jedi teaching. And they're going to take a trip to the temple
Poor Zeb.
to, yeah, every episode.
It's like that stupid
um,
kid. I'd lose sleep over it. But
I love this kind of stuff when Kanan's like actually doing very Jedi things.
like Jedi compass using the holocron. Surprise! That's such a dad thing to say. You didn't knock, so why would you need an invite?
Very much so. I like the use of holocrons throughout the series. They do a very good job with those.
Right. Now they're talking about the asteroid in the previous episode where they went to like a dark asteroid and there were some very scary nocturnal creatures there. And Ezra used the dark side of the force to protect him and protect Kanan against the Grand Inquisitor. And it was a very dangerous connection.
And summoned a very large, like I guess like the hive
Huge.
mother or whatever of all that, like a gigantic one. Like imagine
Yeah.
a Godzilla and then like a little reptile. He summoned the Godzilla version and like sort of sicked it on the Inquisitor. So he could control wildlife and animals too, which we didn't
Mm.
realize. We thought he was able to connect, but this was a control through anger and weaponize, which that was very, very dark side and probably the big tell in season one that like there could be a path for like a dark side Ezra if he continues to go down that path through fear and anger, like where it's going to get him.
Yeah, and I think this is where Ezra is trying to make up for what happened on the asteroid, but Kanan is also like more strict with him than he usually is because it's like you made a dark connection to the Force. This isn't good. I have to watch you even more closely now. And that's where this test comes in.
I'm doing my searching, trying to see if we know anything about the Grand Inquisitor beforehand. It's not listed.
Hera is always the one that makes sure that, everybody's okay and just emotionally good. She's total space mom. Like they can have a huge fight and she's either calming one down or calming the other down. Very sage counsel.
She does a good job balancing all these different personalities too, and making everyone feel like heard and validated, understanding their concerns. I think it's why she's like the perfect person to bridge that gap between like the ghost and then like the larger rebellion, because she's trusted
Absolutely.
by both sides and she's able to like be the glue that holds it all together. Oh yeah, Ezra has to find the temple on Lothal, which actually they don't know there's a temple on Lothal. They're looking for a temple, and he's like, "There's one here," which Kanan didn't even know about.
And do you think that's what Kanan was searching for with the holocron?
I don't know. I think he's searching for answers, and I don't know if he knows how the answers are going to materialize. Because the first thing I would think would be like, is Master Yoda still alive? Like, does someone know what they're doing? Well, someone help. You know, when it's there was that meme, and it's like I looked around for an adult, and it turned out that I was the only adult in the room, and I was like, I need an adultier adult. Like, I think that's the
Yeah.
way Kanan feels, where he's like, I don't even know what the answer is going to present itself as, right?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know who's alive and who's dead still. How could he? Like, there's no
Yeah.
news broadcasts about this. They all thought that Luminara could have been alive.
Yeah.
I would be searching for Yoda since he was like the headmaster of the school, basically, right? Or Obi-Wan
Hmm.
Kenobi or Anakin, because you don't know that Anakin turned to the dark side necessarily. Like, I'd be like, one of the Jedi Masters, someone help us.
Yeah. I feel like Kanan every day now. Like, is there an adultier adult than this? Like, can someone else do
Yeah.
this?
I
But
feel that in my bones sometimes. We're doing something for San Diego Comic Con, and I was like, who's done this before? I've been to a lot of conventions, but it was something really inane and stupid. It was like, someone else buy the Wi-Fi, please. Like, it's just this kind of stuff where, like, it seems like every day there's something.
yeah. Oh, such beautiful backgrounds in these episodes. Like the whole
Gorgeous.
landscape of Lothal, the crazy coned mountains.
Yeah, the geography of Lothal is beautiful, and I have the Star Wars Rebels art book.
Yes.
The big box set thing, and there's a
Yes.
lot of great artwork in there. Oh my god, there's
I
so
had to get
much
both
Lothal.
versions.
I have the one, big one.
The one with the light up sabers. I got that
Yes.
one and I got the regular one because I knew I was going to pour through it like a crazy person when I was trying to
Yeah,
draw
I
something.
do. I feel like I'm like very delicately removing it. You know, it's like to have but not to hold kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I actually want to use this, but I don't want to wear it too much. So
Yeah.
um Scooby is asking or saying that he hopes we get more Hera in future projects. Well, good
Oh, me
news.
too.
Ahsoka is confirmed to have Hera, right? Like we saw her from behind. I don't know how big of a role she'll have in the show, but certainly if they've announced the live actress Sabine, we're going to get live action Hera, I think, in a pretty
Mm.
significant way.
And
I
this
love
is
this
when,
scene.
yes, they learn that it takes both a master and a Padawan to reach out into the temple. So lessons are learned even though you're an adult.
Yeah, you still need each other, which I think is another big theme of the show, right? Like
Mhm.
not going in alone, trusting in the group. That's also a thing that comes up in episode 9. Finn and Poe are talking to Lando, like, how did you do it? How did you survive? And they're like, well, we had each other. We didn't know what we were doing. They were adults who needed adultier adults, and they still figured it out. And
Uh,
it's because they had each other, Luke and Leia and everyone. So, oh yeah, this is terrible. I forget that like the temple like kills people. Like you can't just like fail, like it will kill you. So like there are these like
yeah.
dead Jedi masters whose Padawans didn't make it out. Like that's horrible.
And they were waiting for their Padawans. So they basically just
Yes.
wasted away waiting for their Padawans because the Jedi, you know, way told them that they had to stay at Z Masters who Padawans didn't return.
Yeah. This is also part of the dogma that I have a lot of trouble with. I'm like, okay, like we're supposed to be challenging people, but if you're not going to make it, like someone pull them out of there and like give them a second chance at a later time, because we're mostly dealing with children. Like I don't, I'm not
That doesn't
religious,
help. Yeah.
but like, and I know this is a made up religion, but it's a stupid one a lot of times, and like these are good examples of this. Like it shouldn't be that these masters didn't run in to try to save their Padawans from
Right.
certain death. So
And I think that's where Kanan just got a little bit scared again because he's like, that's what my master told me.
yeah,
So it's just like, did I say the right thing? Because I don't know. I made it out. I love this little
um,
rhyme.
yeah, and the ghost of or this apparition of Canaan, um, criticizing him about his decision making.
Yeah. Ugh.
It's good. I mean, Ezra's fears I think are spot on. Like as we if we think about Luke going into the cave, he's worried about becoming Darth Vader before he knows it's his dad.
Right.
If we think about Rey going into the cave, it's turning to the dark side because she's so connected to Kylo Ren. Like his fears, I think, are quite actualized well. That Kanan doesn't think enough of him that he could ever be a useful Jedi or worthy of being a Jedi, and that he's going to either die at the hands of the Inquisitor or just end up alone. And everyone else on the crew of the Ghost, in the crew of the Ghost, like doesn't think he's worthy of being a member of that crew. Like he'll end up alone again. So his whole thing is like being alone. I think
Right. Or
these are all very
failure.
valid fears. Yes, failure, ending up alone, potentially dying or causing other people's deaths. Like those are also like really heavy and I think very real world driven. Like I'm not worried I'm going to turn into Darth Vader, but I am worried that like a decision I make could harm someone else. It feels very grounded, especially for someone of his age.
Right. Even the apparitions fight fancy. Oh my God.
Yeah, this is great. One of the reasons we put this on here because this really isn't the Grand Inquisitor. This is like an apparition of the Grand Inquisitor as formed by the Jedi Temple. We felt that this was important to put on the Inquisitor watch along, because he's very much like the thing that Ezra is terrified of most all season, and you see it play out right here. Like this could happen. The Inquisitor could have killed them so easily in episode 5, but he was sort of playing with them, right? Like he wanted a monologue, he wanted to do his thing. He didn't think they'd get out of there. But at any given moment, if he catches up to them, they've escaped by the skin of their teeth a couple times at this point. But it's certainly plausible that the Grand Inquisitor would kill Kanan and then either kill Ezra or try to turn him to the dark side easily, and that's highly possible in this series, right?
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest clues that it's not real is that the lightsaber doesn't work.
Yeah.
Scooby said, do we know what the logo on the back of Ezra's jacket is all about?
I'd have to see it again. You're asking good questions tonight. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
who the Grand Inquisitor's master was. Oh, I know he's on the Ghost. Everyone's talking about him.
And this is where he feels like everybody's against him. Like all the fears that he had that other people were saying about him behind his back, it's just it's coming to light in this and this hallucination, and it's just sad. It looks like some
Some,
kind of flying creature.
yeah, it looks like a bird. Someone's saying it's actually very similar to the logo of Skywalker Sound. So it's probably like an homage to that.
Yeah.
What's the symbol on Ezra's jacket? Oh, it's a starbird, also known as the Wren Phoenix crest, a stylized depiction of a legendary bird rising up in the air. Okay. Weird that Wren is in there. So has anything to do with Sabine? Okay, Google. Yeah, it's neat though.
Yeah.
We don't have an Ezra costume or anything in the works, which is why I haven't looked at this all that closely recently. But um,
Ezra helmet.
I would love to do that. I would love to do that too. Um, yeah, that's cool looking. I haven't looked at it in so long. As I'm looking at it again, I was like, oh, that's actually a really nice jacket. Like, maybe we should do that. I want it just for me.
Yeah, seriously, I'd buy one.
We do need more jackets in the mix. I'd love to do pieces and parts. That's the thing, because you could throw the jacket on, whatever, right?
Right.
I love it. He really thinks this happened. The cave is very good at tricking you, right? It shows you
Absolutely.
something and it looks like it's happening. It feels like it's happening. You get all the emotion. There he is. He's alone and he's abandoned again. His biggest fear.
Yeah, and this is the reminder he was alone before and he survived. He can do this. So, and even the hallucination was like Kanan, so that's what he's calling himself now. So that one was just like where it completely threw me off because I'm like, wait a minute, he knows it's got to be the real Inquisitor because Ezra wouldn't know that. I'm like, who let him into the temple?
It is interesting. He was talking about ready to die. Um, it's like, oh, the Inquisitor is going to have to make that choice at some point. Jason's so good in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Star Wars Rebels doesn't work if Taylor Gray doesn't work, right?
Right.
He's so good in every iteration of Ezra, and there's just so much growth that happens. Oh, here comes Yoda.
And he grew with the character.
Yeah.
Frank Oz. I think I lost my mind when I heard this. Like, they really got Frank Oz for this.
I was surprised. And look, I
Mm,
love Tom Kane. I love him so much. I
yeah.
was surprised that they brought Frank Oz to come back to do it because I was like, oh, Tom's been great. And like if you want to make a connectivity to Clone Wars, like Tom's fine. Tom's great.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are actually some kids who are like, why does Yoda sound weird? Because they probably know Tom's version as opposed to
Yeah.
Frank's.
And Kanan doesn't see any of
Uh,
this.
Patience.
Yoda's pulling the strings now, buddy.
Yeah, that's nice.
And it gives him some peace too, because he was doubting himself.
Mm.
And it gives him peace as a master and Ezra peace as a Padawan.
See you I can now before he couldn't. Yeah, he's opened himself up to the Force. He's taken
Right.
on an apprentice. Like he's not the Kanan who was hiding just a few short weeks ago or however long has gone by. It's definitely a good lesson in overcoming doubt and fear and all of that. Yoda, it's the wrong question.
I love how it's Yoda without being Yoda. Like we don't
Yeah.
see him, but we know it's him.
And we don't see him yet, right? Like it's like we're gonna have to earn that.
Decide your path, which is basically Ezra's whole character arc.
Oh, Sarah's saying it's the same lights that we saw in Clone Wars season 6. I didn't remember
Yes.
that. That's right.
Yes. When Yoda is learning how to commune, I think, with Qui-Gon.
Yep.
God, it's so creepy to have him like waiting with these dead masters. It's like, ooh. Okay, just in case you need a reminder of the stakes, this is what happens.
Well, that, and I gotta tell you, as I read too much into everything, I was like, oh, that's him and him and Ezra by the end of the series. Like in my mind, I was like, it's setting up for the fact that they'll both be dead. And one did, and then one disappeared. So, in the eyes of someone like a Leia or a Luke, there are no other Jedi. There's more dead Jedi, right? Meanwhile, this feels World Between Worlds-y.
That's what I was just going to ask. Do you guys think this is a part of the World Between Worlds? Is it kind of one of the gateways that you see later on in the series? Especially that text writing. It's also on the stone in Mandalorian season 2 when Grogu gets taken.
I like how angry Ezra is. Yep, anger. Revenge is not the Jedi way. They repeat that line in season 2 in Twilight of the Apprentice. So he wants to protect everyone. This is very Anakin now. I feel like every Jedi goes through the same damn cycle. And this is what I was screaming about last week, how like everything repeats itself and no one learns a damn thing.
Like they see this hundreds of times with many Padawans and nobody does anything about it.
Which, by the way, that's why I wouldn't even sign up. But like, just take me to the Sith side. Like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I'm just gonna, like, there's no way. I'm just gonna go join like one of the good crime syndicates and be a dark side user, like hanging out with someone like a Maul. I don't know. We'll see. This is beautiful though. Worlds. It feels like it, right? Before like the temples definitely have that kind of thing. Which, by the way, the fact that he gets a kyber crystal is like, I was wondering how they were going to do it because we clearly can't go to Ilum. Like that's not happening. So I don't know how he materialized this, but it's very, it's suspicious. Like I feel like they wrote themselves out of a corner. They were like, okay, just get him a kyber crystal. We'll send it through the space, right? But like it could be World Between Worlds for sure. And Jeff is saying it looks like the Ahsoka logo, which is the World Between Worlds. So. It's certainly possible. Yeah, Kanan, we don't believe it either. So
he's like, oh, cool, shiny rock. He's like, yeah, I got a lightsaber now, dude.
Now think about it though, like lightsaber crystals were usually given to kids who are like 6 or 7 years old in the Clone Wars, right? Like they were about that young. He's 14 and he's, pretty old. Luke was like 20 something. He was 20, about 19 or 20.
Yeah.
When he gets his lightsaber, he didn't have to get a crystal. Because that wasn't really part of the lore yet. But like production order. But that's when he gets his lightsaber just handed to him. Ezra earned it. Even though differently from the Ilum situation. By the way, I love the Ilum episode. I always reference it. Like I love the Ilum episode of Clone Wars. It's one of my all-time favorites. And
it's stressful to watch though.
Oh yeah,
because you're like, are they gonna get out of this?
Well, I also think like at the time I was also naive. I was like, I'm not gonna kill these children, so it shouldn't be stressful. But like they'll kill children. So
and I love this because it's Ezra building his lightsaber and making it his own, but pieces of his family donated to make it. It's so sweet and it's such a cool.
Yeah, everyone contributed to this, and it's his blaster. Like that's which I love, by the way. The combination blaster lightsaber, perfect for kids. Yes. Like this was such a great idea. The fact that no one had come up with it before. but he's a scrapper.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
And they're so proud. It looks like a
Yeah,
family on like a little kid's birthday. And it's just, oh, I love that
that's really
scene.
neat. Great episode. Um,
Fantastic.
and a great
They
showing
both
for our
learned so much
Inquisitors.
about each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's funny is as the Inquisitors tried his best to destroy the team, he actually made them stronger in both of those instances. Like
Yes.
he like solidified the training in episode 5, and then like him being the dark apparition that they were scared of in the temple led to them really gelling as a master apprentice in episode 10. And now Ezra's got a lightsaber. This is a big
Yeah.
deal. It was an exciting couple of
Huge.
episodes here. So yeah.
And he really wanted that lightsaber. So the fact that, he passed the test and earned the kyber crystal,
Yeah.
and his family donated parts to him making one is just, it's huge. It's
Yeah.
monumental in the growth of Ezra's story arc.
And the gel of the
And
crew.
the gel of the crew, yeah.
Yeah. Because the first season has 15 episodes. So at this point, we are 2/3 of the way through. And, a season one of any show is a lot of building, right? Where we have to get to a certain point and we have to introduce things slowly enough where we have enough
Right.
story to tell, but also fast enough where we get to a point where we feel like we're running, not just like walking or crawling. Him not having a lightsaber for 10 episodes as he's supposed to be a Padawan is like kind of insane. Like we're just getting there now. But they like you've seen it in the prior episodes, like Kanan was barely training him in most of them. They're usually doing espionage kind of stuff, like infiltration, spy work. One of the prior episodes, he goes undercover in an Imperial like training facility for young kids who are signing up to be stormtroopers. Like, I don't even remember if they pull out a lightsaber on that one, but like that's very like infiltrate. They do a lot of that in season 1, which is cool in its own right. It's just not at all like the Clone Wars, where I feel like even with all of that, there was still a lightsaber every 3 seconds.
Absolutely. So much espionage, so many lightsabers. It's a totally different thing. And I felt like Clone Wars is a little more grand on the scale because it has a lot more at stake with like the Republic and the Separatists. And this is just, okay, we have the small group of rebels, but we have the future of the Jedi Order here.
Yeah.
So it's more compact, more contained, but it still has huge ripples in the Star Wars universe.
Right. No one knows how big it is. That's the kind of, it's almost like its own little secret, which is kind of how the show was because it was so good.
Yes.
But not everyone knew, right? Because it was airing on like Disney XD. Like it just, it was on Monday nights and then it moved to Friday nights. Yeah. It was strange. But right, it's in this weird, the endless in between, the hopeless in between, as I call it, at a point where not a lot's happening really, but bubbling below the surface, this rebellion is forming, which we're going to get into in August. It's going to be or August. All right, let's talk about what is coming up on the channel this week, the next couple weeks coming up. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing my Boon to Eve shirt. I have to like pull this all the way up. The printing's a little bit low, and I have a short chest. But there we go. Boon to Eve. I don't know if any of these are still available, but I had to rep some like VCN actual merch on the channel.
Absolutely.
I'm running out of Star Wars t-shirts at this point.
No, we have to fix that.
I need to get some new merch is really what it comes down to. Yeah. Well, I've made so many of them.
Disney dropped some Kenobi ones today. So
nice.
You should check them out. They have a really cute for little girls. If any of you have daughters, nieces, friends, kids, whatever, they have a Leia and Lola t-shirt. And I swear to God, I wish it was an adult size because it's so cute. And
That's
there's really cool Obi-Wan and Vader ones. And I was like, that looks
nice.
awesome. But yeah, if they made that Leia and Lola shirt in a larger size, you bet your keister I would totally be buying that one.
I gotta check it out.
Yeah, Shop Disney.
All right, what do we have coming up? So on the VCN, Tuesdays are happy hour. Every Tuesdays at 7 Eastern.
7 o'clock.
7 Eastern. Unifying Force just aired an episode on Sunday. That was about Anakin being, is he still the chosen one? Was, I guess, the question. And I think the answers to that, it's like, could it be Luke? Could it be someone else? Because there's that conversation about Luke in the Twin Sons episode where Darth Maul, I think, thinks that Luke is the chosen one, not Anakin. There's sort of an implication there. So that's, I think, the big discussion. Dave is saying there might be more Bunta t-shirts available. Check the post on the page Yeah, we need Rebels Revisited merch apparently. So we'll come
I'm
up with
down.
something for you just for you, Scooby. We'll put Jeff back to our poor Jeff. We make him make a graphic every 3 days, it seems. We'll come up with something.
Yes, but
Um,
he's an absolute rock star. I
yeah,
mean, look how awesome this looks. Like,
yeah, I love this.
so
I
cool.
can't point correctly. What's wrong with me? There we
Like
go.
opposite
Yeah,
direction from
yeah,
brains.
there we go. Um, so happy hour. Is there a watch along this Thursday? I think there is. They did the Attack
Yes.
of the Clones panel last week, which that was a good panel.
I love that panel.
Yeah, it was it's just so nice to see the prequels getting the love, getting their roses, you know.
Hmm.
Um, and then last Sunday was Unifying Force, which I believe that means they're off this weekend. But then for us next week, so a week from now on Monday, we're doing another Inquisitor watch along. It'll be around the fifth brother and the seventh sister. So we will jump ahead to season 2, and we're going to do a couple different episodes. The Always Two There Are and Future of the Force, which are two of the big episodes featuring the fifth brother and the seventh sister. Always Two There Are is sort of their first appearance, and Future of the Force is the one where they're trying to kidnap the children, and Ahsoka like fights them in that epic
Right.
like 3-way lightsaber fight. It's my favorite, one of my favorite lightsaber fights in the
Okay.
entirety of the series. So,
Jeff says it's the High Republic panel this week on
oh, nice.
Thursday.
Oh,
So
terrific.
that is going to be a cool panel because it's not really something that I feel like a lot of people know too much about the High Republic right now.
Mhm.
But I think they're coming towards the end of phase 1 of the publishing,
I got to catch
event.
up.
Yeah,
I'm
me
hearing
too.
nothing but great things, and then
Yeah.
I'm trying to carve out time to read all these books. Yeah, so next week join us for the next batch of Inquisitors. So seventh sister, who you can see in the picture, and fifth brother, who are also in the picture. We'll be doing 2 episodes from season 2 of Star Wars Rebels next week, and then the week after that is San Diego
San
Comic Con.
Diego.
So we will actually be at San Diego Comic Con, both me and Ashley, for work. I'll be at the Genuo Novo booth. Ashley, where will you be?
I will be at booth 4300 right in front of the Hall F doors. So if you go through the doors that are marked Hall F, we're right there, right in front of the door. And it's Joe Caroni, myself, and our friend Brian Fife. And gonna have amazing art, um, good conversation. So come by and say hello. We'll be there. And looking forward to seeing you guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be great that we get to go out to San Diego because it's been a while.
3 years, yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts. And I love San Diego just as a
Me too.
city. Genuo Nova will be at booth 4049. I don't know how close that is to you, but it sounds pretty close.
Yeah,
We're both in the 4
it's
section.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
We're
it's
in
a
like
little ways up.
yeah, like how far could it really be? Really, like the
Yeah.
floor is big, but like it's not the size of a city. It's the size of a block. And
I think
we
you're on the other side of the Nickelodeon booth. So
oh, nice. That's my
yeah,
other brand.
not far.
So there's a whole like NECA section. So NECA's
Mhm.
over there. Kid Robot, our booth for Denuo. There's a bunch of us sort of in a row. And you'll get to see. Oh yeah, Dave is mentioning the Batman cowl. I was going to say you get to see all my Star Wars
Oh,
Rebels helmets, and we'll also have the Batman cowl in real life, which I'm very excited to show everyone. Oh my god, it's so big. I think I was complaining about that last week. How it's got to be packed up and shipped, and it's making me very nervous.
now have you
Uh,
held it yet? Is it heavy?
no, I've only seen photos of the initial item that we then sketched against and prototyped against, and I've seen photography of the initial prototype, but it's all being made in our factory. So I haven't I will physically touch it for the first time in San
Oh,
Diego. Like
wow.
everything's been through video and photography with me, because it's being made offsite. Like I'm in Westbury, so they weren't going to ship the original to me. But yeah, I'm excited to see it myself. The video and the photos look incredible, but now
Oh, man.
the real deal is like seeing it in person.
I
It's the
can't
same thing
wait.
with the helmets too. Like the photography always looks good, but like then you like touch the helmet, it's like, oh, this fiberglass is like it's weighty, right?
Like my other
So
favorite helmet is that Ray scavenger helmet, like the
it's a cool one.
old beat up helmet with its scratch lens, and it's just
Yeah.
it's so awesome looking, and it's
Thank you. Yeah.
I love it. It just looks perfect, and I it's another dream helmet of mine to own. So
The weathering on that one's particularly good. We've got a
yeah.
lot that have like really excellent weathering, and then some that are just like full clean. Like we're doing a clone trooper that's going to be fresh off the line, as we call him, so no weathering. And then we're doing a dirty clone trooper that's like, seen some action. So there's going to be a fun amount of stuff. But either way, we're both going to be there. So if anyone
Yes.
is in San Diego, swing by our respective booths, and you can follow us on social now. So our social channels are down here. I'm Darth Von Olen on Twitter and Instagram.
Yep. And I'm Hate Street Girl on both Instagram and Twitter. It's just kind of spelled differently due to space restrictions. So
Yep.
that's why it looks different. But yeah.
So we'll put our San Diego Comic-Con schedules on our social channels. So we'll have a pre-record for the Monday after San Diego Comic-Con. We're working
Right.
on a list of our favorite Inquisitor moments. So we figured we'd watch these episodes with you, with the Grand Inquisitor. Then we're going to do the Fifth Brother, Seventh Sister next week. And then we're going to have a big listicle of like, what are our favorite just Inquisitor, moments. And then it's Andor August. Like already,
Yes.
I kind of can't believe it.
No, did you see the Hasbro reveal for the Andor Con exclusive figure? He
That's
looks
some new
so,
droid.
yes, they
Yeah,
look amazing. It looks just like Diego Luna and
it really does.
Hasbro. Chef's kiss on the face scans there. It looks perfect. So I'm so excited. Can't wait to see it in person.
That's the other thing is we're going to get to see that out there. As once we find some
Yes.
downtime, since we're both going to be working. But yeah, that'll be cool to see. And that's what I love about San Diego is like getting to see
Mhm.
the stuff before it hits the market and
Yeah.
what it's really going to look like. Action figures have come a really long way in the last 5 to 10 years, especially on the face scanning side.
Yeah.
Like that really looks like Diego. Like it's
Mhm.
kind of crazy how accurate it is, which is
And
nuts.
just when I'm trying to stop collecting Black Series, here they come with like
I
the
can't.
big guns and
I'm in the camp where I usually let it go for a few months, and then if I'm still interested, I will go
yeah.
get it. Now I know I'm gonna get a Genevieve. Like that one is off the, like must have. Like once we
Yes.
get a Mon Mothma Genevieve, once we get an Andor Mon Mothma like out there, and that they should definitely do that in Black Series. Like Andor's character should be in Black Series and in retail $7. Mon Mothma to me exists in Black Series, but if you told me they weren't going to do like a $10 version, I wouldn't cry about it, right? Like I just don't
Yeah.
think that, you know what I mean? But like we definitely need a Black Series of her. Like I don't even
Yes.
think there's like more than one or two iterations of her character in any of the action figure lines.
Yeah. It's been a very long time since I've seen Mom Mothma in a figure. I
Yeah,
think it was before I even started collecting Black Series figures. So it's been
yeah.
over 5 years at least.
I'd love to see the new version, but then also give us like the classic robe from Rogue One, not from Return of the Jedi, because that would be like too far age
Yeah.
wise. But like the one in Rogue One looks really good. So
Mm.
with that, we should talk very quickly about what we're going to do for Andor August. I don't want to give everyone the whole schedule yet, but we are going to
Yes.
watch some Saw Gerrera episodes. It starts on Monday, August 1st. Is Monday the 1st? Yeah, Monday, August 1st.
Yes.
We'll do some Saw Gerrera episodes. We have some Mon Mothma episodes, and it takes us all the way through August. So the 1st, the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th, all of those Mondays are Rebels watch-alongs related to Rogue One characters. So Saw Gerrera and Mon Mothma in particular, with some Bail thrown in a little bit. Monday the 29th will be our big explosion and/or prediction show, like just a couple days before the show actually airs. So after we watch all that stuff, we're going to come in with our crazy theories and things. So we're pretty much booked through Labor Day, kids. It's going to
Oh
be really
yeah.
fun. Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to a new trailer. Like I feel like they've given us just enough of a tease. Now it's time to see, okay, what's the story going to be about? We know it's going to be about his life before the events of Rogue One, how he got into the rebellion, and I want to know a little more. Like who's in it? What are they doing? Where
Mhm.
are we at? How deep are they into trouble? Just a little bit, just to tide us
Yeah.
over.
Who will we run into? How
Hmm.
will it all connect? And with that being said, like the VCN is planning that type of watch along and build to the road to Andor.
We're going big.
Yeah, we're pulling out like what are the Clone Wars episodes we have to watch. Like there's all sorts of content that's going to happen across the VCN. But Rebels Revisited is the home base over here. We've got more content than I think everything else combined. So we've formed all of August around and the lead up to Andor, and then we'll probably there's going to be an Andor recap show on the VCN. I assume like every week there'll be a watch along or a
Yeah.
recap. Like we'll probably mix that into our content through September and October, like here and there, kind of like what we did with Kenobi, where we did like 2 episodes that talked about Kenobi in particular, but mostly stay just on Rebels. Like that's
Right.
really the crux of our show. It's gonna happen that like Andor's on air and some crazy stuff will happen and it'll be like, that connects to Rebels, and then we'll have to like dive into whatever that was.
And you know that's
So
gonna
yeah,
happen. Like
yeah.
it's guaranteed. At this point, it's guaranteed.
Yeah, there's
So
no way that they don't spend every waking moment trying to connect to other pieces of Star Wars. That seems to be the
right.
go-to here. Um, Anything else we need to prep everyone for coming up? I feel like we got San Diego Comic Con,
San
uh,
Diego.
Inquisitor watch along, VCN
Yeah.
stuff, Andor August. Anything else?
I think we're good. I think we're ready to wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for joining us this week. It really means a lot, and it's good to see everybody again live and see your comments in the chat. And we really appreciate you tuning in with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching along and commenting and participating. It's so much nicer doing this live. The pre-record was weird. We're gonna try to limit those, but sometimes
Yeah,
it's travel. It's like travel
yeah,
and holidays and whatnot. But
yeah,
yeah, but thank you for everyone for joining us tonight. We'll see you next Monday for the second part of our big Inquisitors watch along.
yeah. See you then, guys. Looking forward to it. May the force be with you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.